Good afternoon, guys. Generally, I don't do episodes about particular UFO sightings unless some sort of military surveillance equipment or something else confirmable was involved. However, on November 13th at 6:41 p.m. this year, something very strange happened in Minnesota. Actually, just over a town called Bemidji, Minnesota, and I think I got that right. At the time, temperature was about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. There was a light breeze of about 9 miles an hour. The sun was already down in Minnesota, and then all of a sudden there was a flash, followed by a loud explosion 2.95 seconds later, shaking houses and setting off car alarms. In an astonishing video from One-Way 31 at the Bemidji Airport, located about 4 miles from Nymar, an object was seen traveling horizontally at high speed at roughly the same time as the flash and boom were reported. Now, this is very strange, the sort of thing that I would generally attribute to a meteor. However, there are so many things about this sighting that do not correspond to a typical meteor event, and this has been confirmed by NASA investigators who believe that this probably was not a meteor. Let me explain why. First of all, the flash itself and how long it took for the explosion to reach the camera, as I said before, was only 2.95 seconds, meaning that the flash occurred roughly half a mile or just under a kilometer above the camera. Meteors don't explode at that kind of altitude. Generally, they explode as they enter the upper atmosphere. It's also been theorized that this could have been some sort of fireworks display, but the witnesses were separated by as much as 80 miles, and it's also worth noting that the reports came in to various law enforcement agencies as the event occurred or shortly after it occurred. In other words, we're not talking about witnesses who may have read about the incident and then said that they saw the incident occur themselves. We're talking about reports that were made that very night. Fireworks displays cannot be seen by witnesses on the ground separated by such massive distances. And as far as the track of the meteor is concerned, well, again, the sighting at the airport suggests that the object was traveling horizontally. That's something that a meteor doesn't do either. However, even though the timestamp was roughly the same, it's important to note that whatever this object was, it vanishes as soon as it reaches this pole. Now, that is very odd, and it suggests that it may have just simply been a bug a lot closer to the camera than we might suppose, and it landed on the pole. Keep in mind, we're talking about Minnesota, land of 1,000 lakes and 10 trillion mosquitoes, so it's very possible that this clip had nothing to do with the UFO whatsoever. It's also important to note that no flash is seen with the airport footage whatsoever either, again indicating that the two incidents may be completely unrelated. However, this does not explain what happened that night. The object exploded or created some sort of blast entirely too close to the ground for this to have been a meteor, and it was traveling at the wrong trajectory for it to have been a meteor as well, at least as far as the witnesses are concerned. It could have been lightning, perhaps. There are bolts from the blue, even though there was no clouds in the sky, no storm or anything like that. Sometimes there are static discharges in the atmosphere that have nothing to do with the storm. To me, this seems to be the most likely natural explanation that I can think of, although it again does not explain why there would have been an object spotted traveling over an 80-mile stretch of ground. So what the hell was it? Well, in my opinion, there are two possibilities. The most likely possibility is a static discharge of some kind created by a freak lightning event. Those things happen. They sometimes create massive flashes, and it's something that could theoretically have been observed over a wide area. However, how could it have been an object that was moving? If indeed the witnesses' accounts are to be trusted, then we're talking about an object that may have broken the sound barrier at that particular moment, creating a sonic boom. And given that we didn't have any sort of reported jet turbines or jet engine sounds associated with the object, we could have had an object traveling without the assistance of any sort of conventional jet engines, traveling by means of some other propulsive system, breaking the sound barrier at that particular moment, and somehow creating a flash at the same time. If that indeed is the case, we're talking about some sort of very unusual experimental aircraft, or perhaps a visitor from another planet. I will continue to follow this story. Thank you very much, by the way, to Medium Magazine and to John Clark Craig, who enjoys reporting on these sorts of incidents. And if you want to check out his work, I have all of that linked in the description. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, please subscribe. Also, please check the description for various ways to support this content in the future. And as always, stay angry about space.